Hello, Buckeyes. Welcome to this week's episode of The Sports Perspective right here on Buckeye TV. I'm your host, Brad Comer, flying solo here this week. The Ohio State Buckeyes took center stage once again in prime time last Saturday, hosting rival Penn State under the lights in Ohio Stadium. Ohio State coming into this game with the nation's longest winning streak at 19-0, just extended that active streak to 20-0 with a 63-14 thrashing over rival Penn State. Now, according to the players on this Ohio State team, it is that marquee win that they've been looking for all year.
It was definitely a statement win. That's the attitude we carried to this game, that we were going to make a statement on prime time when everybody was watching, and that's what we did, and I'm glad we did that.
You know, we just went out there and played a great team. Penn State was a great team. Our coaches did a great job, and, you know, players play well. I think that, you know, it's expected that we play well and do our jobs, and, you know, whatever the outcome is, you know, what happens.
You know, the first half, it went real good, you know, just fast momentum, you know, getting the ball out. And the guys get the ball, you know, the offensive line blocking, and you know, it's just the game.
Yeah, I think I like where we're at right now. I like where we're at as a team. We all needed to see some pass rush, some pass defense, some guys step up, and they certainly did. I mean, that was the most impressive part of the game to me, was when you cause turnovers, and you hit the quarterback a little bit. We haven't been doing that.
Sticking with last week's game, the Buckeye offense rushed for a whopping 408 yards versus the Nittany Lions, which happened to be the first time any OSU offense ran for that much since 1989. Carlos Hyde and Braxton Miller both had huge games on the ground versus Penn State, but according to Coach Meyer, all the credit for the Buckeyes' rushing success goes to the offensive line.
I'd take this offensive line over any offensive line that I've seen. These guys are tremendous players, and their work ethic and alignment and cohesiveness is arguably one of the best I've ever been around.
You know, it started with those guys. They was having success on their block, so you know it was just making it easy for me and the other guys. They came in and carried the ball also, so everybody had a pretty good average on the carry.
In years past, the Buckeyes have had backup quarterbacks who sparked some type of quarterback controversy among the fans, whether it be Stanley Jackson versus Joe Germain, Craig Krenzel versus Scott McMullen, and possibly this season, Kenny Guyton versus Braxton Miller. However, it is safe to assume that Braxton has put that debate to rest. Ever since Kenny Guyton began to warm up, potentially replacing Braxton Miller at Northwestern, Miller has arguably played his best football since that time Guyton was about to replace him. No coincidence to this theory, says Coach Urban Meyer.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I think he knows, and I've told him that there's absolutely no doubt. He's like, it's maybe a little more complex than that. He's not used to being second fiddle, you know, his high school career and his college career so far, but I love him to death. He's like a son to me, and we get along great. But he knows that I have a job to do, and that's to make sure the best players are on the team, and the guy behind him happens to be a very good player.
All right, let's take a look at this week's BCS standings. Alabama once again the unanimous #1. Oregon and Florida State swapped positions at 2 and 3. Ohio State once again placed at #4 in the BCS standings. And the Stanford Cardinal debates at #5 due to Missouri's thrilling upset versus South Carolina in overtime. Stating the obvious, Ohio State is 20-0 under head coach Urban Meyer, and it's the third 20-0 win streak in Urban Meyer's head coaching career. No doubt has he built a winning tradition here at The Ohio State University. But does Meyer even think for a second when that first loss will come?
That L word is not a good word for anyone. And so the one thing is we coach very hard, and Lou Holt said it best: you coach hard when you win. When you lose, it's very fragile. And we were coaching you come out to practice and you'd be like, my gosh, you'd act like the offense is the worst in the country. And especially on Tuesdays. They're bloody Tuesdays around here for a reason. And I think that's as long as we're still coaching that way, and we will, you know, they're very hungry.
It's been known that the Big Ten is weak this season, but Purdue hasn't done much this season to help the league's reputation. The Boilermakers are just 1-6 this year and open up this weekend against Ohio State as a 31-point underdog. Purdue has always played the Buckeyes tough in the past. Last season's near upset is a perfect example of that. That almost near upset is still on the team's mind.
I mean, it's still Purdue to us. I mean, even it doesn't matter if you have a new coaching staff or not. It's still the Purdue University, so we got to beat them.
It's a place that can make you lose focus. I mean, I don't even know where it's at in Indiana. But Coach Meyer and Coach Mick, they was talking about it. No matter where we go, I mean, we got to keep our goals in mind. So we're going to go in there focused and try to handle our business.
They changed. They were all 4-3 defense about 3 weeks ago before the Nebraska game changed completely. They're now 3-4, so it means they're just going through some personnel issues and scheme issues. Very big up front, but like I said, we're just still trying to figure out what we're going to see Saturday because it's completely different from the first half of the season until now.
Coming up next, the men's hockey team took the ice at Value City Arena. Can the Buckeyes make it 3 wins in a row? We'll recap that after this quick timeout. The men's hockey team won their first 2 games this past weekend, winning against Robert Morris on Friday and Saturday. Did the Buckeyes make it 3 games in a row versus Bowling Green this past Tuesday? Franz Ross joins us from the newsroom to recap us on this big game. Franz?
Thanks, Brad. After starting off a disappointing 0-3 this season, the Ohio State men's hockey team moves to .500 on the year with a recent 3-game win streak. The most recent win on that streak came last Tuesday with a 5-3 victory over the Bowling Green Falcons. It was a shaky start for the Buckeyes as Bowling Green took the early lead with a score at 2:39 in the first period. The Falcons' lead would not last long due to a game-tying goal from freshman forward David Gusk later in the first. Junior forward Ryan Zingle would take the Buckeyes into the lead with a late second period score.
We know we can play with teams. I don't think it's a good habit. Certainly be a lot better playing with the lead. But I know our guys know now that, hey, if a team scores a goal, it's no big deal. Let's just bounce back and it's the next shift, and I think that's what these guys are doing.
The fireworks occurred in the third period with the Falcons and Buckeyes scoring a combined 5 goals. Bowling Green would tie the game twice in the third period, while junior forwards Nick Otto and Chad Nittery each answered back to put OSU back in the lead. It was a late-in-the-game empty net goal from junior forward Derek Angeli that would seal the victory for the Buckeyes.
I talked to Coach about that. Our top 3 scorers from last season, haven't produced like we'd want, and it's just credit to the other guys stepping up and finding a way to put it up in the back of the net. And so we're excited to see if us 3 can get the job done. It's scary. Our team's going to be pretty good offensively.
I mean, you need guys scoring from first line all the way down to fourth. For our line especially, we're good at energy, and if we can help out in any way possible when it comes to putting up points, I mean, it's huge, right? So if you have depth like that, I mean, you're a good team.
The Buckeyes' next opponents will be the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, who will journey to Columbus this Friday for a 2-game series. And now back to Brad in the studio.
Thanks, Franz. The men's soccer team posted 2 straight shutouts over the weekend versus Oakland and Cleveland State. OSU junior goalkeeper Alex Ivanov earned the award of this week's Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week for those efforts in those 2 games. Our sports reporter Jordan Elwood spoke with Ivanov about his success this season.
Junior goalkeeper Alex Ivanov went from starting in 7 games last season to being one of the most prominent players on the team this year. Ivanov credits current Columbus Crew player and former Buckeye goalie Matt Lampson for helping him build good habits, but says he couldn't do it without his teammates and coaches.
All the players on the team, I always learn from them, and they always help me out if I have any problems, and especially Tally Good, the goalkeeper coach, and the other 2 coaches on the coaching staff.
Ivanov has been honored as Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week twice this season and first team Capital One Academic All-District, but he doesn't want past accomplishments to distract him.
You try and not think about those things and just use it as motivation and just say, put your past achievements behind you and always look forward and keep trying to improve. So I try and not let it get to my head.
Besides being a leader statistically, Ivanov has stepped into the leadership role on the team.
I'm trying to give them encouragement when they do things that are right, and if they're in the right spots, positioning-wise, I'm always trying to give them encouragement, but also get on their case if they made a mistake and tell them that they're better than that and they should do better in that situation. As a goalie, I can't win the game. I can only keep them from losing. So that's how I guess I try and motivate them.
Ivanov lands at 2nd in the country with 90 saves. He is now 9th on the OSU all-time single-season record books, but he tries not to let it get in his head.
The preparation has been big for me, mentally and physically getting prepared for a game. As you had asked before, that's definitely something I've improved on, as well as just believing in myself and having the confidence in my own abilities.
Jordan Elwood, Buckeye TV Sports.
The losing woes continue for the women's volleyball team, losing a heartbreaker to number 13 Nebraska 3-1 last Saturday in St. John Arena. Some positives were that senior Caitlin Leary had 12 kills in this performance, and freshman Kylie Randall added 9 more, to the kill total. The Bucks began the second half of the Big Ten schedule on the road this weekend at Michigan and Michigan State. Well, the women's volleyball team has struggled since starting Big Ten play. They were 12-0 in the non-conference portion of the schedule, We'll see if they can bounce back in the second ladder of the Big Ten schedule starting Friday night. Well, that is all we have this week for the Sports Perspective on Buckeye TV. I am Brad Comer. Make sure you follow us on our Twitter page, twitter.com/BuckeyeTV, and find us on thelantern.com/BuckeyeTV for past videos and updates from all of us here at Buckeye TV News and Sports. I'm Brad Comer. Have a fantastic evening.